Hi, I'm Dave with EV World News. We're talking about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. Now back today on a Friday edition with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going, Bill?
Hey, it's going well. I have a bad hair day. I need to go get a haircut, so I put my cap on today.
Sun and Fun's going on right now. I saw you sent me a
Yes,
video about
yes.
that. My buddy Mark owns a flight school that's on the property there,
Right,
and
Lakeland,
he
yeah.
sent this video of some type of holographic light, but it was an F-35 flying by, but it was at night. There was
Right?
no actual F-35. It was all
No,
a hologram type thing.
holographically projected, huh?
Yeah, pretty
Wow.
amazing stuff. Um, yeah, but that's the second biggest air show in the United States, right?
Yes, it is after Oshkosh. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
big goodbye winter, hello summer. Oshkosh is focused on, mid to late summer. Fly in for all the pilot enthusiasts. Excuse me. And Lakeland is the one where everybody says, "Oh, thank God the winter's gone and we can, fly now without too much concern about winter
There you
snows and
go.
things like that." So,
But anyways, that's going on right now.
yep.
All right, let's talk about this Polestar story. Now, this is about this comes to us from an Australian news source.
Yes, Australian
Okay,
news source. Yeah.
so the worst of both worlds. Polestar slams plug-in hybrids. A higher up claims plug-in hybrids are fast becoming irrelevant. And the concept here is that it's the worst of gas and it's the worst of electric
Yep.
in one combination. Now we know they catch fires at a rate 120 times that of electric cars. From we know that
Mm-hmm.
from insurance statistics. Like they catch fires twice as much as gas cars. But nobody ever talks about that with plug-in hybrids. They only talk about that with EVs. Like EVs are
Exactly.
catching on
Oh,
fire.
and maybe will we touch on the big fire at the BYD factory in China?
Oh, that should be entertaining. No, I hadn't
Yeah,
seen that.
yeah.
Is this at a battery plant?
No, it's where they take. It's a big automated. It's all done by robotics. A big automated parking garage where they send all of the apparently rejected vehicles and all the prototypes and crash models and all that kind of stuff. They send them in there and park them. And I forget, Chengdong or wherever this particular one's located, and it caught fire. And the guy who put out a video on this is apparently a former fireman, fire marshal, something, and he said he didn't think it was it was caused by batteries catching fire. That it was just too many vehicles in proximity. Who knows? I mean, we may never, because it's in China, we may never know what the actual cause was, but it's pretty serious conflagration.
Oh, I see an article from 2 days ago saying that the fire at the Shenzhen facility affected only test and scrapped vehicles, no
Right.
casualties, but the
Yep.
cause was improper construction work. Had nothing
Yeah.
to do with the cars themselves.
Yeah, well, that would be what are called tofu dregs.
Yeah. We keep
That's a
talking
big,
about
big
this. I don't know if
problem.
we
That's
talk
a
about it
big
on air
problem in
that
China.
much,
Yeah.
but Bill and I
What's that?
talk about shoddy Chinese construction
Yep.
all the time. Um, but yeah, this makes you wonder. Yeah, but anyways, at least it wasn't the EV batteries. But I'd imagine that probably set a lot of the EV batteries on fire all the same.
Well, yeah, it's going to catch fire. You got well. The point he was saying was not only is the issue with the batteries. This is the fireman whose video I watched. So not only that, he says most cars anymore are basically plastic. It's
Mhm.
oil, and once that stuff catches fire, you got all kinds of toxins that are being and fire sources of fire to keep that thing going. So I don't know if they've put the thing out yet or not. I haven't seen.
Yeah. Well, back to the Polestar story.
Back to Polestar.
Um, People are spoiled for choice when shopping for a new car. We got gas, diesel, mild hybrid, full hybrid, plug-in hybrid, battery EVs, and even fuel cell hydrogen vehicles, all making up part of the diverse auto universe. However, Polestar's put all of its eggs in the electric basket and no longer considers plug-in hybrids a good choice. I think plug-in hybrids are the worst of both worlds. So you've got all the complexity of an electric drivetrain coupled with all of the weight and complexity of a petrol drivetrain. You don't have zero emission, and you have an increase in maintenance requirements because you get all these varying systems that need to be maintained independently. I've often wondered about that, that you've got that concept. I mean, the idea usually is you have a plug-in hybrid has a 40-mile electric range, and
Right.
you really don't drive it with gas.
Yeah.
But, you still have to occasionally change the oil and, do things like that.
I had a couple interesting conversations this week. One was one of the gentlemen that I'm members with in our local EAA chapter, who happened to be he parked right next to me a Chevrolet Bolt. I'm sorry, Volt, Chevrolet Volt. And I got to chatting with him, and he says, he says the battery on this thing doesn't work anymore. And it degraded finally to the point, it's an early, I think 2014 model, something like that. And he says it would cost me, he says I could go get the battery, replaced with a rebuilt battery, but that's going to cost me $7,000. And the car, given its age and miles, because he's got like over 200,000 miles on it, says the car is, only worth $2,400. So what do I do? He says, he says, it's just basically a gasoline car. The other conversation I had was also interesting in respect to this because it is with a gentleman who is running for Congress. And I had a conversation with him because he drives a Jeep Commander, the electric, the fully electric version. And we got to talking about plug-in hybrids and range extended hybrids as well. And I brought this point up of the extra costs and things like that. So more and more people are involved in talking with it that I just, you run into.
So that is a 10 kilowatt hour battery that's in that Volt. Okay. That is at current prices, wholesale to the manufacturer at $70 a kilowatt hour. That's only $700. They want to charge him $7,000 to put that in. $7,000. And that's not fair to claim that as a downside to the technology.
Are you sure it's 10 kilowatts? I mean, the car originally had 40 miles, 35 to 40 miles.
Yeah, it's like 37, I think. Yeah, but I mean, realistically, that should be about 10 kilowatt hours.
Well, because I've got a 24 in my Fiat, and that'll do 80, 85. So yeah, that makes about sense.
Yeah, but I'm just guessing that.
I'll do a little research here for you, folks.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually 16.5 to give it 38 miles.
Battery?
Yeah, it wasn't very efficient, obviously.
Well, again, this is very early. This is this is 15, at least 15. This is 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, if you're combining a full electric drivetrain with a full gas drivetrain, maybe the vehicle's heavy too.
Yep, exactly.
So, but still, okay, so 16, that still only pumps it up to maybe $1,200.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of labor here involved because you have to, what he was telling me, he says the batteries that come in this replacement pack come out of other older cars that have been scrapped, and then the guys buy the batteries, they then take and pull the individual cells out, and then they test each individual cell, and then they find the ones that are good, and whatever that definition is, but good, and then they put them back and reassemble a pack, and then sell you this thing for, he told me, $7,000.
Well, what I was kind of getting at was maybe, if that battery had been brought in that way like 3-4 years ago, the battery probably was worth $7,000 3-4 years ago. Right. It's just that battery prices have really cratered.
Plummeted. Yeah.
And, it's just hard to fathom. But I'm just saying, in theory, somebody could produce that new pretty inexpensively compared to $7,000. Of course, you still have to put it in, you still got to pay the mechanic. There's still got to be a profit on that battery too.
Right.
Okay. What's a fair profit on some of that.
Yeah,
It's
and
just like,
again, you're left with the equation. You've got a car that basically is worth, what, $2,500, 3,000. I don't know. We should look on Car Guru. What is a 2014? I think he sold me it was 2014. Volt worth
yeah,
with those
I
kind of
think I told you I'm
miles,
dabbling in solar and
right?
trying to work some projects. And I was just talking to somebody because we have a steel mill. We were going to, an old steel mill, it's a retired
Right,
steel mill. And
right,
for our first project, we're going to put solar on the roof of that.
right.
Okay. And we were trying to establish, and I was talking to a guy who's he does 3 gigawatts hours of solar installations annually.
Nice, nice.
Okay. He's the CEO of Clear Cell Cellular or Clear Cell Energy. Okay.
Okay,
Anyways, he's telling me we can put a megawatt on that roof. He goes, let's do this and get this. And I've been looking at all the crazy tax credits. We're still eligible for the 30% federal tax credit. And
good,
there's an
excellent.
additional brownfield credit of 10% for repurposing energy on a brownfield site with the Department of Energy.
Okay,
And then there's a low income if we're selling the energy back into the grid and it's supplied at a lower rate to
right,
lower income people, there's an
right.
additional 20% tax. All the tax credits combined to 70%.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm just like, holy crap, we're doing this.
Let's figure out how I can do that with my Solepiary, right?
Yeah, you live in Papillion. You're not going to get a whole bunch of those. There's probably out of that 70%, 40% of it wouldn't be eligible in Papillion.
Oh, darn. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, well,
I'm
that's
just,
no, that not for me personally. This is for the agrivoltaic project.
yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you, but
Okay.
it still could probably, unless you could really can we really truly find a poor neighborhood in Nebraska?
Well, yeah, you could if you get out really rural. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it would work there. I don't know, but I'm just looking at some of it, and it's like, man, it's fun looking at it. And I've got some, and it's already created some international opportunities just from having some of these
Yeah.
discussions that are kind of fun. Anyways, but yeah,
Hey, while we're on energy, before we move on, let me just bring you up to date. I just checked the SPP or Southwest Power Grid before we came on. Okay, we are in the western grid. That's basically the new part west of the Rockies. We're at 60.4% are renewables. 60.4%. Of that, wind is 35, a little over almost 36. Solar is 8.3, and hydro is 16.
so
Here in the
is
east,
Iowa on the other side of that power pool then?
no, the new one also includes parts of Iowa, but that's the eastern zone, which is what we're in.
Okay, we're in the
Okay, so the
eastern zone.
western zone is from basically Rocky Mountains west.
Got it.
Eastern zone, which is Rocky Mountains east, over into Iowa, we are at 72.3% renewables. Of that, 64.8 is wind, 2.8 is solar, and 4.7 is hydro. So
Well, we got some
combined,
crazy front rolling through right now. So I
yeah,
mean, our temperature is going from 70 degrees down to 30.
yeah, exactly. So right now, between the two combined two grids, we are at 66.335% renewables: wind, solar, hydro.
Yeah. Well, anyways, this all came from this Polestar discussion, and Polestar was making their first vehicle. They discontinued in 21. Was a plug-in hybrid.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
The
and they've
Polestar
since
one. Yeah.
discontinued that. And we've heard other companies talk about this too. I mean, Mary Barra has talked about this with GM that she thinks it's a waste of time to
Yep.
do a plug-in hybrid, even though, my own feeling is that in the last couple of years, the Volt, which they discontinued, in like 2018 or something like that,
Yeah.
or 2020,
The
somewhere in
one
there.
we were just talking about.
Yeah, the one we were just talking about. It would have done really well. It would just they produced from like 2012 or 14 to about 2020, and it was just a
Yep.
little ahead of its time.
Yep. And because again, you come back to there's a comfort zone that people are, want, and there are people that just simply there are times when I really want that 300 miles driving range and 5 minute refueling, right? I mean, I
Mhm.
understand that. I don't. We used to. My wife and I used to travel back and forth to visit her family in Kansas City. Well, I don't really want to do that mainly because they've gotten older. One has passed on. I just don't have the desire to want to drive to Kansas City anymore. It would be, I would have to somewhere along the line probably have to stop for half an hour to recharge to get down there and back. Um, I didn't have to do that when I was driving my hybrids. So I can understand that. I can appreciate that. Now
Well, when I
getting to
hear
the,
somebody say, well, I'm a sales rep and I have this huge territory and I drive like 500 miles a day. And it's like, you probably just hate your job. No, don't hate on EVs because EVs might not be applicable to your particular use case.
right.
You're that one guy in 1,000 that has a use case where EVs may not be stellar, you know.
So that being said, remember I was talking about the gentleman that's running for Congress that I had an
Mhm.
opportunity to talk to. He drives the all electric Jeep Commander, and he has to cover an area where he will typically in a day have to drive 600 miles to go visit and do a town hall meeting and those kinds of things that he does. Been able to do it. Hasn't been a problem. Now he did bring up to me, he said, "Did you hear about BYD?" And I said, "Well, what, the fire?" He says, "No." Did you hear about this 5 minute recharge, right?
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, yeah, that of course, to make that all work, you have to have the grid and the support system to make that work. But yeah, that's coming. 5 minutes from. In fact, I think I posted a link to an article just this morning where there's video of this guy watching somebody charge from 10% to 97% state of charge in 5 minutes. Amazing.
Yeah, it is just staggering. In fact, the guy I was telling you I was talking to about solar, he was telling me that he's installing Tesla mega chargers, you
Right.
know, for trucking,
For trucking, yeah.
and he was talking about all of the crazy, we were talking about the crazy amount of energy that has to be deployed. I was asking him, well, you must have some kind of battery pack rapidly deploying that energy. He goes, yeah, we're using solid state
Yeah.
batteries for that. And um, but he was saying it was solid state came out of a certain technology that's been
Yeah.
around for a while. It wasn't like the new solid state batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
30-minute charging is more than reasonable. Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Anyways, we'll move on from the Polestar discussion. Let's go ahead and let's talk about. I've had a few articles about Tesla today, or for the last couple of days. Um, Tesla stock down 32% from all-time high, and currently it's at like
Ouch.
$406. It was in the 300s again, and so it's popped back up above 400. Uh, Earnings reports coming on April 22nd. Investors nervous about margins. Production
5 days from
exceeded
now. Yeah.
deliveries. So they produced 408,000, but only delivered 358,000, meaning there's 50,000 units
50,000 sitting in a parking
increased
lot.
in
Yeah.
inventory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, European, but they're having a European comeback. German registrations for Tesla are up 160% year over year. France are up 203% year over year, showing that brands
Good.
recovering in Europe. Potential lower cost SUV, a cheaper than the Model Y, could be a game changer for the mass market. I haven't really seen a lower cost SUV proposed by Tesla.
No, I haven't. From what I've seen, from what I've heard or read, is that they're looking at a scaled down version of the Model Y that's some inches shorter, and that will be their $25,000, car supposedly. Although obviously it'll probably come in closer to over 30, I would guess.
Well, Ford has that thing called the Eco Drive or the Eco Boost or something like that. It's a really small SUV, and Buick has basically the same vehicle as well that are really tiny SUVs. You're just
Yep.
sitting a little higher. I mean,
Right.
all the
Yep.
sport utility vehicle is, I still think of at a minimum like a Jeep Cherokee or a Ford Explorer.
Exactly. Yeah. Why they call the Model Y an SUV? No.
No, it really doesn't strike me as being an SUV. I mean, it's very comparable to a Volkswagen Bug, right? It's very similar look. I mean, it's probably not a whole lot different in terms
Yeah.
of,
Yeah. It just
you
well,
know,
it's obviously it's more aerodynamic than what your
yeah,
typical SUV is, but yeah.
yeah. I'm just saying. I mean, but
And the
anyways,
moniker was somebody marketing gave it that moniker.
all right. So we're in April of 2026, and Tesla Cybertruck, or I'm sorry, Cybercab production starts this month. So fully autonomous robotaxi with no steering wheel or pedals begins production at Giga Texas this month.
There's I saw a drone shot of the parking lot, and they're probably what looked to be, now whether it's real or who knows, with AI anymore. Because it looks to be about 50 of them, something like that, in the parking lot.
Hmm.
So they may have already, but it's does it have the steering wheel in it? Does it sans the pedal? Who knows?
So Musk is claiming something, a revolutionary manufacturing style called Unboxed. One vehicle can be produced every 10 seconds. So they can produce 6 cars per minute. Okay. I mean,
Oh,
man, they're far faster than traditional assembly lines. Their target of 5 million vehicles per year theoretically is possible with this method. That would just be staggering if they're putting out 5 million
let's
of these a
let's
year.
let's see them be successful with the cyber taxi. They haven't made any dramatic, progress on that front. I mean, Waymo is still way out ahead of them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't quite understand why they would be able to, or why they'd be willing to try to produce at that rate without further government approvals on the FSD.
well, maybe that's why he spent so much money getting Trump reelected. He
Maybe,
needs government
maybe.
approval.
There you go. To hit Musk's $1 trillion compensation plan, which isn't really, I mean, it's, I thought Bill was sounding kind of quiet too. Um,
Oh, am I here? I'm still here.
yeah, no, no, no. But you're, Bobby's saying that you're a little bit quiet. And I'd noticed
Oh,
that earlier. I actually turned up my volume because
well,
I thought it was
let
on
me,
my end.
okay, no, I'm up all the way on my end here.
Okay. Or maybe just maybe your microphone's just too far away.
Well, right, it's about that far away from me here.
Oh, okay. All right.
It could be, again, remember that I'm using this new laptop with the USB C connector, which
Well,
doesn't
there
match.
you got really loud, but Bill, now you're too loud.
Oh, well, let me turn it back down.
Yeah, there. That's probably pretty good right there.
All right, let's go with that.
There
I
we go.
noticed my plug wasn't all the way in, so that could be it.
Usually with electronics, it's all or nothing.
Oh, yeah, it is. Well, that's why most really professional shows have engineers.
Yeah. We don't want to try to pretend we're professional at this, right?
Oh no, this is far from professional. This is
Yeah.
amateur as you get.
Yeah. But to hit his $1 trillion compensation plan, Musk needs 10 million operational robotaxis within 10 years, plus 20 million passenger vehicles. He's got some big numbers he's got to hit.
Yeah, that's dreaming big. He's
Yeah.
dreaming big.
Well, hopefully he gets it. All right. And of course, I've touched on this before. Tesla reclaims the EV crown from BYD for Q1 of 26. Tesla delivered 358,000 versus BYD's 310,000 pure EVs. I mean, BYD also sells plug-in hybrids. They probably had a higher total if you combine those. But Tesla is up 6.3% year over year, while BYD's growth slowed after dominating in 25. The gap between the two is narrowing dramatically. Global
Okay.
EV market hit 20% of all new car sales in 24, is projected to reach 40% of global car sales by 2030, which that seems pretty reasonable to hit 40% by 2030 worldwide.
Musk perfect. Musk perfect. Musk or
Um,
must or well, anyway.
I think he was, who knows?
Who knows?
We
Thanks,
probably
thanks,
think
Bobby.
yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, and you were just talking about the BYD 5-minute charging. Just had article was talking about it going global. BYD is offering 18 months of free charging in China as gas prices soar past $110 a barrel. 18 months of free charging with a BYD purchase in China. Let's see. All right. Nuclear is the energy story of 2026. 15 new reactors going online this year, 50 more by 2030, and 75 under construction globally. Global nuclear capacity projected to more than double by 2050. Well, I think there's intent for a whole lot more of that. It is saying here's 3 stocks to watch for SMRs. These are kind of interesting ones. One is Constellation Energy, which is CEG. GE Vernova, which is GEV, and Cameco, which is CCJ. I watched Cameco for a long time. They're a Canadian company, but AI is printing, AI is typing.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, but
Looks like all the stocks are up today. Wow.
oh yeah, they opened. Iran agreed to open up Hormuz.
Oh, I didn't see that one yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, everything's going to be green today. Stock market's going to be flying. Today's a
Except Lucid. Lucid's down a little bit.
really, yeah, Lucid just keeps dragging. And the funny thing is, I had an article I've just kind of skipped a little bit. Lucid has recalled 4,000 Gravity SUVs.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what that recall is, but
Oh, I saw it,
but
and I'd have to look it up. I think I have an article on it. If we look up Lucid.
yeah, Saudi backing keeps Lucid alive. They're targeting 25 to 27,000 vehicles in 26, which would be a big excuse me, which would be a really big number for them. It's funny. People always want to compare Rivian and Lucid to each other. Yeah. So
Well, they're both startups. They're both electric, but I
yeah,
think the similarity ends there.
yeah. So we've got a comment on I heard fusion nuclear is promising too. Yeah. Something so you got fusion and fission. The problem is fusion can't exist without fission reactors. So you have to have fission reactors to produce the fuel to make fusion reactions. And at any given time on the planet, you could have only maybe 150 to, well, let's say you could probably have 100 megawatt fusion reactor operating on the planet with the amount of fuel we currently have. So there's a problem there in that not only is it technologically hard to create a fusion reaction a fusion reaction that will create more energy than is used in making the reaction, but there's this huge problem of that the tritium needed is doesn't exist, and so there's a real problem there as well. So
Yeah, the I just looked up the Lucid recall. It was
mhm.
3,627 vehicles over a disconnected half shaft. So apparently there's some kind of a weakness between the drive motor and the wheels. And unfortunately, this is behind a paywall, so I can't do any more research than that. So
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a fun thing to have go wrong.
no, you'd be driving along and suddenly your car just stops rolling. So
Yeah, yeah, but I am I love the fusion concept. It's and people are successfully having fusion reactions. But I was telling Bill, yeah, yeah, people the the Livermore National Laboratory, when I was listening to one of the lead scientists at an event I was at, and she was talking about they've successfully 10 times in 3 years been able to have a fusion reaction that generated more energy than was used to create the transaction. And she said to commercialize that, they need to be able to have 10 reactions per second to have it at a commercial scale. So you have to go from 10 in 3 years to 10 per second. So that's, they'll do it.
A little bit of a hill to climb.
Yeah. Yeah. Then they also have to have the tritium to be able to make that work.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is you're throwing a deuterium and a tritium atom at each other. And at the time they're hitting, you're having a 70 million degree laser hit them with a pulse of energy at 70 million degrees. And every time it goes, it's the hottest location in the universe. For that 1/10 of a second that the reaction exists. Yeah, I know a fair amount about fusion. I don't claim to be a scientist, but
But you're a good student.
I'm a good student, and I know I know a lot of what's going on, and I know what's.
Can we arrange like an honorary doctorate for you?
There you go. There you go. You know what's funny?
Dr. Dave.
One of the big things is to make fusion, you need lithium-6. You need lithium-6 to make tritium, and lithium-6 is controlled by Putin. So good luck with that. Yeah. Yeah. So there's other issues with fusion as well. Yeah. The United States does not currently produce lithium-6. And so that's a problem. China does produce, but they won't sell it. So China won't sell their lithium-6, and Putin won't sell it to anybody that's currently got an embargo on them. Yeah. So that makes it a challenge. And there's another one called lithium-7, which all the people who are trying to make molten salt reactors, they have to have lithium-7. And lithium-7 is made in the same process of making lithium-6. Yeah, you're getting we're really off topic here, but you have to, and when you produce lithium-6, lithium-7 is a byproduct. You need lithium-7 to do a molten salt reaction.
Yeah.
And so all the companies are out there in the molten salt space, they're all, they're out of luck. Okay. And so they've all got a really big problem. The big one that I'm aware of that has this problem is Kairos. Okay. So Kairos is a big US company in the SMR space that can't get fuel. Okay. So that makes it hard to get, that's a fission. So the 7 is used for fission. The 6 is used as part of the fusion supply.
Fusion. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, I've spent a lot of time digging into the economics of all these things and where all the supply chain sits and what can be solved.
And I keep coming back to the simple layman's view of we only need temperature hot enough to boil water, 212 degrees. We don't need the hottest place in the universe to make steam, right? So
the good news is about fusion. So while that sounds like it could go horrifically wrong at any point, if it does go wrong, it shuts the power off automatically. So it's the opposite of the nuclear of the fission reaction.
Right. 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl,
but
Fukushima.
With fusion, it just snuffs itself out. See, fusion, one of the things is fusion doesn't want to happen. You have to really force fusion to happen, whereas fission is happy to react. Okay. And in fact, but it's so happy to react, it's really hard to get it to stop once it goes bad. Okay. And that's what's happened to Chernobyl was it got away. Anyways, I'm just saying it's interesting to kind of look at it. So that if something ever went wrong with fusion, it's super safe. It's super safe from that perspective that it'll just shut itself down. Yeah. But these 70 million degree reactions are happening in 90 different research facilities around the world. So I don't know how many times they're successfully happening, but they're certainly at least coming close in all of those facilities. So
Fascinating.
yeah, they're at least getting to millions of degrees, if not the whole, like 70 million degrees. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's stupid how some of that is. Let's see. All right. Intel joins Musk's $25 billion terafab AI chip project. Musk building a chip factory producing 1 terawatt of AI computing capacity per year. 70% of TSMC's global output from just one facility. Intel is contributing 1.8 NMs, nanometers, nautical miles. I don't know. NM process tech. I don't know what that might be. Tesla, SpaceX, and XAI are partnered. Pilot putting in 20 to 25 billion. Full scale could hit $5 trillion. 80% of output for SpaceX orbital AI satellites, 20% for ground-based, be coming out of this terafab project. Massive power implications. Entire U.S. produces only 0.5 terawatt of chips annually. This one facility would be twice that.
He is just bound and determined to corner every market, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. AI data centers to consume 9 to 17% of U.S. electricity by 2030. Now, we were talking last week about how the shortage of energy for data centers by 28 will be the equivalent of the power usage of Canada. So we could just take all of their electricity and use it to power our data centers
Yes.
and put them back in the Stone Ages. Yeah. Yeah. I'm half Canadian, so don't anybody take that the wrong way.
I didn't know that. Half
Yeah, my
Canadian.
mom's from Canada.
Oh, you're from Canada. Okay.
Yeah. AI currently
And she's
uses.
a sweet lady. I got to meet her, guys. So
Data centers currently are 4 to 5% of U.S. electricity, projected to double or triple by 28. Well, they certainly want that much energy by 28. At least 16 gigawatt or larger scale data centers are scheduled to come online by next year, by 2027. That's 30 gigawatts of total new load out of these 16 gigawatts. I have a
wow.
call this afternoon with somebody who's doing a 2 gigawatt data center. And I'm just like, they throw this, Mike Herzog, our Wednesday host,
Right.
Who is a grid engineer. I mean, that's what he does. He sets these things up. And he said it used to be when he first started, people were talking about these massive mega projects that were like 20 megawatts. And now people are talking in gigawatts, and a gigawatt is 1,000 megawatts. And they've got a couple of these doing 8 gigawatts. It's just really hard
Yeah.
to fathom. I know when I first watched Back to the Future, one of the things you had to do to make the car go back in time, you had to have you had to have like a
Right.
gigawatt.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, of energy. And and back then I had no clue what a gigawatt represented.
1.7 to whatever it was gigawatts. Yeah.
Yeah, and the only way to do that was
But they got that out of a lightning bolt. So hey, just
I don't think you
capture
could have got.
lightning.
I don't think a lightning bolt has that much energy in it. I bet it isn't even close. Okay, which is kind of funny, right? I could be wrong. If anybody knows that, feel free to tell us. But I'm just saying, I would doubt that it really has that much energy, because that'd be like 2 nuclear reactors, 2 grid scale nuclear reactors, two
Yeah,
water cooling towers.
but he gets it out of that little food processor thing on the back of the car. He
Yeah.
just dumps aluminum cans and trash in it, and
Thank God he had some good transistors, right?
it's good. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, to be able to harness that power.
And ironically, that car gets killed by what?
I don't even remember.
A steam engine. I think it was a steam engine. Maybe it was a diesel. I don't remember. It was a train, though.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Where are we at? All right. Well, that's all I really wanted to cover for today. We're out of time, anyways.
Oh, okay. Anyway, hey, just quick, if you live in the Omaha area, we are doing Earth Day, the Sierra Club. We're going to have a bunch of EVs there. So if you want to haven't been around or experienced or talked to anybody, be sure that stop by either the Omaha Earth Day, which is next Saturday, or this coming Sunday in Bellevue, Nebraska at the university. So there's
Yeah.
my 2 cents. Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
Marine
let me
Sea
cover
Glider.
this real quick.
Okay,
Yeah, so Marines are flying Sea Glider. This is not an actual picture of the Sea Glider, but this is what it looks
AI
like.
did that for me.
Yeah. U.S. Marines are evaluating an electric wing and ground Sea Glider that skims just above the water at high speed using ground effect lift. It transitions from hull hydrofoil to low altitude flight, offering fast, low signature coastal transport for all troops and gear. A hybrid system is in development to extend range, positioning the craft as a potential game changer for future marine logistics and contested shore operations.
Yeah. Now this
How
this
would
is
you
what
use this for? Are they saying somebody would fly this in rapidly over the water to do an assault? Is that kind of the
yeah,
idea?
well, yeah, for cargo, they've already done a sea rescue uh, demonstration where they had some pilots out in a raft, and all this testing is being done in the Narragansett Bay up outside of Provincetown, Rhode Island. So the vehicle actually looks like this configured. I had just asked AI to put it in marine livery, so it would be more reflective. The company's called Regents, and so it's got more of a commercial look paint job on it. I wanted to just show what it might look like in marine colors. So, but this is they've invested quite a bit of the Marines have invested a lot of money with this company to get them because this solved a whole bunch of problems for them that basically is cheaper and more and faster to operate than sea lift helicopters, and also has a lower profile, but also can operate both on land and sea. So the thing, if you cut the power, the thing drops down into the water and becomes a typical a boat, basically. And then you get it up on the hydrofoils, and that gets it ready to transition to ground effect flight, where they just simply retract the hydrofoils, and this thing flies just meters above the surface of the ground. Has a very low audio signature, and because it's electric, it has virtually no thermal signature. So it's really
Or sound? It
what's
wouldn't
that?
have a lot of. It probably wouldn't have a lot of sound either.
Well, that's what I was saying. The audio signature is quite low on it. It's like 80 decibels or something like that. So it could perform insertion operations and excision. I forget the exact, but where they take and remove like Navy SEALs off of the beach and things like that. So it's got a lot of promise and potential, and so they've invested a few, I think, hundred millions of dollars with the company.
Oh, nice, nice. All right. Yeah, I think gigawatt is just probably a regional pronunciation of gigawatt.
Yeah, yeah, gigawatt,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, you could easily pronounce gigawatt as gigawatt. It sounds funnier when you say it as gigawatt. So,
Oh, glad you get a new computer, Bill. Thank you. So do I. The other ones. Anybody? Hey, by the way, if anybody knows, how do I open the back of mine to see if I can rescue that eventually? I'll look it up on YouTube for a video, I guess.
yeah. Anyways, hey guys, thanks for watching. Bill and I will be back on Tuesday. And otherwise, folks, have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.